Welcome to Plan B Terraform, a new early access game on Steam with an extraordinary 91% positive reviews. Plan B Terraform is a planet-sized terraforming simulation game. A bit of Factorio, a bit of Transport Fever and a few other games all together. You arrive on a completely new randomized new planet, so there's a lot of replayability here. But this is not a paradise island, it's a lifeless rock with only 9 people living on it. Your goal? Terraform the planet to make it habitable. Mine the resources, build factories, change the climate, and more to move from those 9 people to 1 million people living on your planet. Most of the game was actually mainly created by one person, but given its amazing success, now the team has grown and they've also already launched multiple updates since the initial release. While it's still in early access, it's totally playable. You're gonna see we have a lot of content. It's just that I think, currently the main game is reach 1 million people, and after that there's not that much to do. You can still continue, but there's not that much. I think for the full game we'll probably have even more. And again, it's totally playable. It's not a cyberpunk situation. So I hope you will like this. I'm planning a short series, maybe 5 to 10 episodes from start to finish. I'm going to show you first the basic of the game up to the end game with a lot of advanced tips. So we're gonna create a completely new planet. Game reveal, I think, is normal. And let's launch. Of course, if you have any questions, thoughts, requests, don't hesitate to share in the comments below. I'd love to hear. Also, because this is a new series, please don't hesitate to smash like button. It really does help a lot. We have a new planet, as I said. Let's bring the supplies to the cities to grow them, and also let's start changing the environment, terraform the planet. Here is our planet. Okay. So every single cell on the map, is an hexagon. So everything is based on hexagon. Here we have one other city, New Bangkok. 9 people across the whole planet. I think in New Bangkok we only have a population of 3, as you can see over here. Actually, we have 2 cities very close, New London, New Bangkok, and then New Poon is a bit further over here. You can see it on the map there. Right, we have on both poles some ice, right? You can see a lot of ice. And then if we switch to the second view over here, the mineral view, you see the depots of resources. Red is our iron, right? Then we have yellow over here, that's the sulfur, and there's a few others. Then we're gonna have to play also, as I said, with water, with some gases. There's gonna be quite a few things going on. Another thing I wanted to show you right away is that you can see in every places of the map, if we look at the bottom over there, the line at the bottom, you'll see the latitude, the longitude, the altitude. And the altitude is a very important one, because obviously if you have some places that are quite high in altitude, like over here, we're at 500, 600 meters, then that means there's a lot less chances of water in the future going there. When the water is gonna start flowing from, the pole, etc., it's a lot likely to go, somewhere over here where we are at 100 meters, than somewhere over here at 600 meters. So that will be important for, the end game. And by the way, the last view that you can see over here is a water view. Right now, we don't really have any water at all on the planet, so we can't see anything, but in the future, that will be quite an important one. Then quickly about the UI, on the sides over here, we have our buildings. Right now, most of them are locked. We're gonna get mini buildings. Of course, this is categories of buildings, right? But so far they're locked. Then we have at the top, year 1, 160 days. Sorry, I forgot to pause the game, so it was running. Total population for the planet. Then this is our objective. Right, our first objective, level 1, is to build 10 extractors. Right, so that's where you can see the objectives. Then we have in this corner, of course, the help and settings, and that's pretty much it. Now it's time to start building. So obviously I know a bit the game, but the first part, this first episode, I think is gonna be focused a lot on just unlocking all of the buildings over here, and I'll explain everything while we're doing this. And then in the future episodes, it's gonna be a lot around growing a lot, optimizing. I'll show you all of that. We're going to unlock, trucks, trains. There's very different things. We have quite a lot of resources over here, so I think we're gonna start maybe there. It's not too far also from those cities. So the first one, it's around the iron. We want to start going with iron, and they tell us build 1 extractors. This is right now the one of the only few things we have. We have access to the extractors here, then factories, assembly parts, and depots. The way the game works is, we have resources on the ground. Right now, those resources are actually limited. You can see the one I clicked over here, it says 434. This one over here, 279. So each of those resources nodes are limited. It's not infinite, which, to be honest, I'm not a 100% fan. I think I'd love to have a city that can run by itself. Maybe I hope they're gonna change that in the future, but it does create also some interesting challenges. Anyway, so we have those nodes of resources. We're gonna extract resources by placing extractors just right on top of them. You place them on top of them like this, and that's it. They're going to start working, but they need somewhere to drop the resources. So that's where the depot comes into play. We're gonna choose iron. And this is the depot level 1. So it needs to be right next, on the tile next to the extractors. Later on, we're gonna get even better depots that can, go more tiles. So for example, 2 tiles away, etc. But for now, this is the only thing. Now let's unpause. And at this point, they're gonna start extracting. We're in 1 speed. We can move to 3 speeds if you want to go quicker. And the drone is gonna pick up the resources and drop them in the depot. Now that we have resources, let's do something with those resources. So we're gonna build one of these factories to transform the iron ore into steel bars. And what I do really like too is that you clearly can see, the ratios and things like this. This is 3 iron ore to make 1 steel bar. And even when you click on each of the productions, you can clearly see, this is an annual production of 15. Okay, so then it's starting to deliver, as you can see, and with that, we're starting to make some resources. In this case, the iron steel bar that are being done there. Then we're gonna need to, again, create a depot, right? A depot for those steel bars. Now, that's going to go there. Then next, we're gonna want to do something with those steel bars. In this case, we're gonna build an assembly to actually do something, right? For example, we can make more extractors, or we can make more depots. Let's start with the extractors first. And you start, I think, to understand a bit the basics of these games is you're mining resources, you're transforming these resources into products, and then with those products, you're gonna build buildings or very advanced things. So that's, really the beginning of the game. And something I really like with this game is if you do a middle click of your mouse on any building, it's just going to copy it with the settings already there. So you see, this is a depot with iron already there. So then you can quickly do something like this, put another one like this, put another one like this, and put another one like this. In this case, probably to do some depots, for example, right? So with that, we're starting to make 2 different things. That is great. We're also starting to make, some extractors over here. So you see it was at 0, now it's at 1. This one is at 2. Soon it will be at 3, I'm guessing. Come on. Yes, at 3. To get to our level 1, we need 10 extractors, so let's start placing them. You don't have to put all of these buildings on the ground. You can also put them over here if you want. So for example, if I do something like this, obviously I will have even more of them right next to the extractors. We are now in level 2, and each level you'll also unlock new things, right? For example, now we have mechanical parts, an interesting one. And we also have a new goal, which is to build 5 factories. Right now we only have 1, so we're gonna need to be able to make new factories. So if I look over here to make a new factory, I need 3 mechanical parts. So first we need to make some mechanical parts, right? So let's start doing that. And basically a mechanical part will require a second factory because we're gonna transform the steel bars into mechanical parts. So it's iron into steel bars into mechanical parts. You put a depot, and then we're gonna put our assembly to make those factories. Here it is. We'll let it run for a minute, and as long as you respect the range of those depots, you can put multiple. So depot mark 1 can only touch buildings that are 1 tile away, but we can definitely put a second factory, right? That is not a problem. So I can do something like this, for example. Obviously, I'm not giving enough of these because this is 15 and this can produce 30, but 30, that means we need 90. So this is definitely not producing enough, but I just wanted to show you that you can definitely have multiple of them in terms of input and output. And in particular, when we're gonna get depots that are marked 2, etc., where they can have a bigger range, then that's gonna become super important. So I showed you how to make those extractors, I showed you how to make those factories, and how to make those depots. The only one we haven't started to make is the assembly plant. For now, the only thing you can do is you need to switch the factory from factory to assembly plant. In the future, of course, what we'll do is we'll actually have one production change for each, so that those things continue growing and growing forever in a sense. But yeah, we just need to build one first and then we can use it over here. Perfect, so we've built it, so let's use it over there. And this one can do factory, so we have factory, assembly plants, then here we have the extractors, and then let's start making a few more, and we'll talk in a second. Okay, so I've built a couple just to make sure that these numbers go up quite quickly, and also to show you that you can do different things. You know, it's not like there's only one layout. Of course, some layouts are more efficient than others. For example, over here, you can see I have a lot of extractors, but that's creating a traffic jam because I only have one of the factory. So that's not very efficient. Versus on this side, for example, I don't have that many extractors, but I have two factories, right? So you can see there's no reserve. So this is too efficient in a sense in terms of the factories. But of course, in the future, I'll also show you sort of more perfect factories. But before that, let's take a quick look at our next objective. Level 3, we need to reach a population of 10 in one of our cities. So to do that, we have unlocked the supply center that we need to put next to our city, but also roads and trucks. It is worth noting that trucks are not actually the first way of transporting resources. This is actually the first way of transporting resources. If you put a line of different depots, it will transfer from one to the next. But obviously for long distances like this one, it's probably better to put a road. So as I said, we have unlocked the supply center and we've also unlocked roads and trucks. But we actually need to make all of this, right? The first one we can actually make right away over here is the trucks, because this is two mechanical parts. So it's very similar to what we have over here. And we can see over here that we're actually making too much of these. So we can also do something like this to then make even more of these mechanical parts and then transform this one to be trucks. I'm not saying this is a perfect optimized production, but it should be okay for the start. And over here, we're not making enough, but the good thing is actually, you know, if you delete one of these, you just get it back. So that's quite good, you know, to start optimizing your cities quite quickly. We can do something like this. So we've started to make some trucks, but now we need to make some roads. For the road, this is concrete that we need. Similarly, for the supply center, this is also concrete. So how do you make concrete? Well, let's build one factory and see. How to make concrete, you need 3 sulfur. So let's find sulfur on the map. This is the yellow one. You can see there's one over here. There's also on top. And spoiler alert, we're gonna need to deliver concrete into the city. So maybe let's do it over here so that it's closer to the city. And we're just gonna do basically the same thing. Now let me duplicate that a couple of times. So we're making concrete, but now we need some assembly plants, right, to transform the concrete into road, for example. All right, let's put 2 on this side. And on this side, we're going to put 1 road and 1 of the supply center, because I don't really need a lot of supply centers. And this one, we're going to keep it because this one is what we're going to deliver to the city. So the city is over here, New London, 3 people. It's going to require resources, right? Like this concrete. At some point, it's also going to start emitting waste that we're going to need to do something with, and a lot more complexity. This is also going to start growing. It's going to take space. So we may want, you know, to curve that growth, but basically for now, again, at the beginning of the game, the goal is just to unlock everything. So no worries about optimization. Just put the supply center next to your city, right? It needs to be connected. And right now it is red. It is red because it's insufficient. We're not giving the concrete. Another thing I really like, you know, it's showing you clearly what is the demand. Annual demand of 10. So we can then check over here, how much are we making? We're making 30 as long as we're giving enough of the sulfur, right? So that's totally fine for now. Now we're gonna need to get the concrete over here, right? So first of all, we're gonna need a warehouse or a depot for concrete. Then we're gonna need a road, right? A road that goes from here to, where are you? Over here. Perfect, here it is, we have a road. And then you just select one of your trucks and you click from the start to the finish, and it's going to also ask you what do you want to transport, in this case concrete, and now it has created a stop over here and a start over there. And then we need to start putting some trucks. Right now there's only 1 trucks, and given the distance, that means it's going to transport 3 per annum. And remember, we need 10 per annum in terms of capacity. Here it is, it came. Now it says maximum because obviously if this is empty, it's not gonna transport 3. But as long as this is full, it's going to transport 3. Now, when you want a bit more, you can press one time to just get one more, or you can press left shift to get 10 more at once. Now, we only need 10 right now, so, you know, I don't think we need 10 more, but maybe let's put 20 just in case, because this is going to start growing. And when this grows, this is going to start requiring more. So that's what's important. Here it is, we're delivering. So we have some reserve starting over here. And so now that we have some reserve, this is supplied, right? We see satisfactory 100%, and therefore it's starting to grow. The population now is at 4 and it's gonna continue growing. And you can see the demand has also already grown. So quickly, but surely this is going to start growing. So let's go crazy and put 10 or 18 trucks already on it. I mean, let's put an even 20, which is 50 of capacity. So that's going to be enough for quite a while. Okay, we are at 6. So slowly but surely, this is going to start growing. In the meantime, we're starting to make tons of roads. That's great. Tons of trucks. Can't complain there. And all of this. So all of this is growing very quickly, very nicely. I love it. And here it is. We have already reached population of 4. Now we're starting to unlock a lot of new things. We have aluminum bars, carbon, oxygen, atmospheric extractors, which is the first building that's going to require 2 different resources to build, which is mechanical parts and aluminum bars. And then lastly, the landmark tower, 3 concrete. I should make them quickly over here before we forget. You know, let's put a 3rd one over there and say, make me some landmark towers. And I can show you quickly the landmark towers over here. Please make one. Okay. So, you know, landmark towers, we can put, for example, over here. And when you click on it, you can give it a name. So that can become concrete, for example. So that now, if I go on the map, I have my cities, but I also have a name like this. So it's really good to organize a bit and quickly see where you need to go. Then, as I said, we have unlocked a couple of things, and in particular, this atmospheric extractor requiring aluminum bar. So you may wonder, how do we make that? Well, factory, aluminum bar, aluminum ore, 2 aluminum ore for 1 aluminum bar. And yes, I know that in some countries, it's supposed to be aluminum. In my country, it's not. So I'm gonna say aluminum, I'm sorry. So we need these new resources, which is actually this one over there. And on top of that, if you remember, this needs to be added to mechanical parts. So it's great because we have the iron over there, we have the aluminum there. So that's not too far. So that's great. We can make, you know, a small factory in the middle, taking both resources to create what we need. Let's pause the game while I do that. There's no need to run, and let's start building. Okay, so we have a quick chain over here to make my aluminum. Right, we're taking the ore, transporting the ore over here, and then transforming the ore into bars, and the bars are going there. Then same on this side, right, we're taking the iron, we're transforming the iron into steel bars. The steel bars are deposited there, then they're transformed into mechanical parts, and then those mechanical parts are delivered over here. And then we're gonna want an assembly to take both of those things. We can put it next to this one, next to that one, or in the middle. Obviously, if we put it in the middle, we're gonna need 2 different routes, right, with trucks, but it is, in my opinion, a bit cleaner, because this way we can also upgrade this, right, with one transport over here. We can upgrade this with one transport and make this bigger. As if you make it over here, you may quickly be, you know, in trouble. So as I said, a mechanical plant to make atmospheric extractors, which will require one of these and one of these with 2 roads. So let's go, one over there and one over there. Perfect. And some trucks going each way. This one is going to transport my aluminum bar. We're gonna put, it's a short road, right? So just a few trucks is already giving us a good production. And same on this side, select trucks, send it. And this one is for my mechanical parts. Go again, a couple of trucks, and that should be making a lot. We can probably make even more. For example, we can make one on the other side. When we have Mark II, we'll be able to do a lot better. Now, our objective is to reach 100 of population. So let's check out what's happening over here. We still need to give concrete. And by the way, the demand has also reduced now because there's a second good, which is oxygen. And the oxygen will be given now by those atmospheric extractors that we just got. So let's start building some. Now, what's really interesting with those atmospheric extractors is they're actually giving you two outputs. They're giving you some carbon and some oxygen. So let's put some depots. On this side, we can do the oxygen. And then on the other side, we can do the carbon, right? Remember, I was telling you earlier that the depots are your basic first way to transport resources, because you can do something a bit like this, right? We have a lot of depots and all of them at the end will deliver over here. Now, one thing that actually took me a while to figure out the first time I played the game, and is actually super important, is while you have two outputs, even if one of them is full, for example, in this case, the carbon is full. There is nowhere that the carbon can be delivered, and so it's completely full in the extractors. It's continuing to work. The oxygen still continues to come out, so you don't have to actually use the carbon. So if you want, and actually it is, in my opinion, easier to do and easier to manage, is to say, all of these I'm gonna use only for oxygen. Then if I need some for carbon, I'm gonna create some different ones. So it's disconnected, I don't have to have the dependencies on both. The least dependency, the easier it is. But anyway, now we are delivering, all of these oxygen on this route. It's a bit of a longer route, so even with more than 30 trucks, we're only delivering 50, but that seems to be enough. The ton is growing, right? You can see 100%, we're at 30 right now. So yeah, soon we're gonna need to increase. And it is, we have reached 100 of population. We have at level 5. And we've unlocked now even more resources. We've unlocked the polymer bar, the reinforced concrete, high-tech parts, and depot mark II. But I think that's a good end for this first episode. We have already unlocked the trucks. In the next episode, we're definitely going to unlock the trains, and also the depot mark IIs are really a godsend. They really change how you can do your things, because now you can have 2x's range instead of 1x range for all of your production. So it changed that a lot. And of course, we're gonna need to reach higher population. To do that, we need to actually stop giving concrete and instead give reinforced concrete, which is obviously, a more advanced resource. And it's only gonna get more complex from there. Obviously, in the future, we're also gonna want to start upgrading our other two cities, and we're gonna need to start doing some terraforming too, right? If we want to have some plants, if we want to have some life on this planet, we're very far from that. We are at minus 58 degrees Celsius right now. So I don't want to go there on vacation or for work or anywhere, right? So we're gonna need to change that. I do hope that this first episode showed you a bit what this game is all about, and I'd love to get a like, I'd love to get some comments, in particular to tell me if you want to see more of this. As I said, probably planning a series of like 5 to 10 episodes to get from this beginning of the game that we are in right now to the complete end game. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.